Hey, 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 hope everybody is doing well. Don't forget, tomorrow, 3 o'clock, right here on If You Don't Like That, Sean Salisbury. All right? He'll be joining me. We'll talk about the NFL and more. That is tomorrow, coming your way at 3 o'clock. Love to get your phone calls, anything else that you want to talk about here on this open forum show. It is easy to do. Happy to have you here. Here is your link to call the show. You got the QR code above your shoulder as well. So, again, get on board. I would love to be able to talk to you right here on If You Don't Like That. How good do the Buffalo Bills look? Huh? How good did the Bills look? Think about their last two games. Think about what they have done to the Dolphins, even when Tua was on the field, and what they did to Jacksonville last night. I mean, men against boys, right? Talk about taking a team apart. Wow. And then you got the Bengals at 0-3. Now, think about this. The Bengals didn't even have to punt last night, and they weren't able to score enough. They weren't able to punch it into the end zone enough to beat Washington. How about Jaden Daniels? Are you kidding me? How good does he look? I mean, wow. How about Daniels for the Washington Commanders? They got themselves a quarterback. He was incredible in the win against Cincinnati. I mean, that guy's going to be big time. What a good-looking quarterback that they finally have in Washington. All right, your Thursday night schedule gets underway with the Giants hosting the Cowboys. Good news on the Brock Purdy MRI. It's a minor injury, and they certainly cannot afford to lose him now. This is a must-win game coming up, all right? This is a must-win game for the Niners at home this week against New England. Cody says, Bills, Super Bowl, or bust. Credit Joe Brady in forcing the run game, limiting Allen's mistakes. You know, I'm with you on that. You know, at some point, the Buffalo Bills have to punch through, and they've got to get to the Super Bowl. I'm with you on that. They really do. It's early. Injuries are going to change things, but they look very good right now. All right. How sweet would it be for the Giants to put the Cowboys in an 0-4 hole? Well, Dustin, that's not possible. I don't know if you ever look at the standings, but it's impossible to put the Cowboys in an 0-4 hole. You want to know why? Because in the first week of the season, the Cowboys won in Cleveland against the Browns. So that would make them 1-2 right now. So not possible, Dustin. Not possible. All right, if you want to call the show, again, you got the information. Give me a shout. We'll put you right on. Happy to do it. There's the link, also the QR code. And do not forget about the fact that I always want to be able to do a rant right here, a rant with Grant. You give me rant ideas, give me some good ideas, and I'll be giving you a rant. All right? There you have it. Again, tomorrow, 3 o'clock, show in Salisbury. All right? Talking about a lot of things going on in the NFL and college. You're going to watch the Alabama-Georgia game? Georgia, second ranked. Alabama, fourth ranked. Yeah. Prime time, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Bryant-Denny Stadium, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Georgia Bulldogs, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Looking for that at all. All right, looking for that. No question. Did I see the Shedeur Sanders Hail Mary at the end of regulation? I wasn't watching it live. I have seen the highlights of it. Yes. You know, absolutely. All right, again, hit me up. Would love to be able to talk to you. And you can go in any direction you want. I think when you look at the standings right now in the NFL, I didn't have Pittsburgh going 3-0. I did not. But I give Mike Tomlin all the credit in the world. I'm looking at the Steelers. I'm looking at that division. I still think Baltimore is the best talent in that division. But think about the game they've got this week and how big of a game that is. I mean, they have a schedule that they're going to have to earn it. And I think they're very capable of getting back and being that same type of a team that they were last year until they lost to the AFC Championship game. But again, Dallas at the Giants and your Sunday night game, I think is the best game on the card. Buffalo at Baltimore. All right. Buffalo at Baltimore on Sunday night. Here are your other games that I think are very interesting. Minnesota at Green Bay. Very interesting game. NFC South, New Orleans at Atlanta. Another good game. But I think the Chiefs and the Chargers will be a good game. But that game on Sunday night is going to be a dandy. All right? It's going to be a dandy. It really is. All right, again, hit me up. What do you want to talk about? I'm here with you. Open Forum Tuesday. You want to talk NFL? We can do it. Cody says Cleveland at Las Vegas, Tennessee at Miami. 2 games I cannot get a good feel on. I'm totally with you on that. I don't know how you can get any feel on the Browns and the Raiders. Tennessee, Miami, they're both bad games. You know, Chargers are beat up. Yeah, so are the Chiefs. You know, both teams have some critical injuries. That's part of the NFL right now. All right? That's part of the NFL right now. Injuries dictate a lot. Look what happened in the Niners-Rams game. And you know that we're still in September. Injuries are going to impact this season. No question about it. All right, Patrick says a lot of baseball action tonight here in New York. The Mets lose to Atlanta. The Yankees lose Baltimore on a Gleyber Torres base running blunder. Torres has got to be one of the worst base runners that I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. Patrick says Astros clinch the West. You know, I'll tell you something about the Astros. They always are relevant, right? Dusty Baker turned that franchise around when they were horrible and got caught cheating. Shouldn't say they were horrible. That's not right. They were caught cheating. Dusty came in and was incredible. And now look at where they are in 2024. I think they got as good a chance as anybody in the American League. I really do. All right. We're not doing political stuff here. So if you're going to go political stuff, I'm going to block you. This is not a political channel. So you're going to give me political chance, not on this show. I don't care who you vote for. Doesn't matter to me. Has never mattered to me. All right? Doesn't matter to me if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I don't care. You live in America. Vote for who you want. Support who you want. But not on this show. We're not doing that on this show. All right? All right, here's a Kings question. Starting 5 for the Kings. Do you start Kevin, Ellis, or Monk? You know, I think Mike Brown, he's got a good choice here. I think it's going to be Keon Ellis. I just think for the fit. All right? Raiders need to trade Devontae Adams. Not going to win the Super Bowl. I'm with you on that. I do too. Had Travis Etienne not fumbled in week 1, the Jags go up 24-7 over the Dolphins, and I feel win that week 1 matchup, but they collapse and it's getting worse every week. Isn't that something? How about that? Yeah, they were dominating that game, weren't they, Cody? They were dominating that game. Absolutely dominating that game. And then everything turned in an instant. Miami, the only time Miami had the lead was when the ball was in the air with the clock at 0, right? So, yeah. All right, let's move along here and get to Condog. What's up, buddy?
Oh, what's up, Grant?
How are you?
What's up, everybody? So, yeah, I'm looking at this Pittsburgh Steelers schedule, and it's favorable, very favorable. Like,
well, they still have all their divisional games, though, right? They still have to play the Ravens twice and the Bengals twice, right?
That doesn't happen till the end, right? They don't play that till all the week before Thanksgiving. Like they have Colts, Cowboys, Raiders, Jets, Giants, Commanders, all winnable. Then it's Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, and Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs at home at Christmas, and then Bengals 10 the season. I mean, if the Bengals and Browns don't get it together, those are very winnable as well.
Agreed.
So,
I
like,
agree with you.
yeah, this team could really just end up being a top 3 seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
Walking into it, like,
I would never ever go against a Mike Tomlin coach team. The guy is amazing.
Oh yeah, no, he never had a losing season in the NFL. That's incredible.
It is incredible.
Never heard of that.
Me neither. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you can name any other great coach, and they've had a losing season in the NFL.
Absolutely.
You could go down the list. Anyone from Belichick to Landry to Chuck Noll to Bill Walsh.
Yep. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Who are you going with? You think Georgia or Alabama on Saturday?
Man, that is what is this, week 5, and it's pretty much a trip to the SEC title game on the line.
Yeah.
Prime time, and I'm gonna roll with the dogs, and that's a close one. But you know what's sad is at the same time slot is the undefeated Illinois game going at Penn State.
That's the same time?
Yes, that is also a
Well, I'll tell you right now, I can tell you who's going to win the ratings war in that game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Nobody's going to be watching Illinois and Penn State. Everyone's going to be watching Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah, most people are. The Beaver Stadium will be packed. From what I'm hearing, of course it will. What I'm hearing is it may be a whiteout game, which is a great environment to see at night. So I'm going to be flipping between both these games, especially if both are close, because I'm very interested in this Illinois Penn State matchup, because Illinois later in the year does play the Oregon Ducks, right after they play Michigan. So maybe, that they could end up being a sleeper in this Big Ten and really knock someone off of the Big Ten title picture. And they may knock Penn State off of it right now. That is a very high possibility. And then we also have a Big 12 playoff picture on the line, as Oklahoma State and Kansas State play each other at the 9 a.m., and they both have one loss in the conference. Well, so this could really also decide, who has a shot left in the dark to win this wild Big 12. Like, there's all
right. Now I've got a question for you, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask you to guess. Saturday, Alabama is a home underdog. When do you think the last time Alabama was at home and were a dog?
I want to say it was the Cam Newton Auburn game.
I think you are correct, because I had this same conversation with a buddy who's an Alabama alum that lives in Tuscaloosa, and he thought it would have been that game too. He also thought it might have been the game where Stafford was the Georgia quarterback, and he felt that they might have been favored in that game. But think about this. Under the Nick Saban era, which obviously is over, but and Alabama's been favored in their 2 home games this year, how many times do you think Saban walked onto the field at Bryant-Denny as an underdog?
Nick Saban, an underdog at home? That's definitely never.
Well, we just had Sean tell us 2007 is when he thinks Alabama was last a home underdog. Think about that. It's 2024. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
They had one hell of a college run.
Oh my God.
Considering the revolving rosters in college, like, Pete Carroll never was that dominant. Bob Stoops, I could go down the list, of other legendary coaches. Mac Brown, another one, just
it's unbelievable.
It's hard, maybe you have a string of, like 2 or 3 great recruiting classes, and you maybe win a championship or two.
Yep.
You know, Urban Meyer, Florida Gators. But yeah, none of those guys, really won like or were in the title picture is consistently in winning conference championships like that.
Unbelievable. Hey, always good to hear from you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And go Kings.
Yeah, it's starting up soon. Starting up soon. Looking forward to that. Let's get to Sean. Sean, you're on with Grant. How are you?
Good, Grant. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. If that's you that gave me the information from 2007, thank you.
Yep. Yeah, no problem. I read that earlier today. I was kind of curious too. I'm like, when's the last time Bama was a home dog? But yeah, so we're pushing what 17 years. I think that was maybe the second or third year under Saban. So yeah,
Isn't
it's
that
been a while.
unbelievable? Is that amazing
Yeah.
or what? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been focused on like football and baseball coming up, but I read on Twitter the other day, Vlade Divac, he was quoted in the Croatian media, I believe. Once I translated the interview on the page, he essentially said the Kings taking Marvin Bagley. It remains to be seen if that was a mistake. I am not to agree with that. I wanted to hear your take on that.
That's not true. Vladdy knows it was a mistake, and I don't believe that is accurate. So I don't know what else to say. I'm very close with Vladdy. I've talked to him about this on numerous occasions. What Vladdy does say, he understands that Marvin Bagley was the wrong pick. He 100% understands that. What he does, what he does think is that De'Aaron Fox with the Kings is a championship caliber point guard, and what he maintains is had the Kings drafted Luka, Fox would no longer be on the team. Now, I think that most people that cover the NBA, if you took all 30 general managers and said, would you rather have De'Aaron Fox or Luka Doncic? Can we agree on that? Okay. But he still feels that Fox is a very special player and has the ability to win a championship with this Kings team. I don't. Vladdy and I disagree on that. I don't think he has championship pedigree, but it remains to be seen because the guy is still in his prime.
Yeah, and I would piggyback off that. I mean, we're not attracting many huge free agents. I mean, DeRozan did want to come there and whatnot. We're not getting a LeBron James. We're not getting anyone like that. I guess the only thing that was kind of a cause of concern for me is Vlade is huge overseas, Croatia, Serbia, the whole thing with Drazen Petrovic. So the fact that Luka was kind of in his own backyard there and Vlade didn't say like, hey, this kid is different. I think that's the only thing that kind of makes me mad about the situation.
I think a lot of people are mad about the situation, but at some point you got to move on, right? I mean, the Kings did not they didn't draft Steph Curry. Folks moved on. They didn't draft Klay Thompson. They moved on. They didn't, they took Jimmer Fredette. They took Thomas Robinson, one pick ahead of Damian Lillard. I mean,
McLemore. Yeah.
McLemore. I mean, you can go back to 1985 when they drafted Joe Klein instead of Karl Malone because they had Otis Thorpe. You can look at Kenny Smith, who was a good player, all right, 2 years after that, but they didn't select Kevin Johnson. Well, Kevin Johnson was a much better player than Kenny Smith. This franchise has had a history of horrible draft picks.
Right. Well, you guys got Kevin Johnson in the form of a mayor, but not a player.
You saved the team, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I guess the only thing that's kind of been the bugaboo for the Kings for the last 30, 40 years is not drafting the best player available. It's drafting for a need. So it's like Thomas Robinson, he had little T-Rex arms. Anyone could have told you he can't rebound at the next level.
Scott Pollard told me that before the draft. Scott came on and said he's not going to be, his game will not translate to the NBA level. I said, what do you mean? He goes, he won't have a position to play in the NBA. He won't be successful in the NBA.
Right.
I'm like,
yeah.
That was before the draft.
That's exactly. Yep. That was also the red flag for Machine to beat, who the Grizzlies took second overall over Westbrook Harden.
And Jeff
anyone
Petrie,
that followed that,
Jeff Petrie drafted Thomas Robinson. A lot of people forget that.
Yeah, that was the Petrie before D'Alessandro, right? Yeah.
Yeah, before Pete.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just about it. I know that there had to be something lost in translation with what I read that Vladi said versus what he actually said because I don't speak
100%.
Croatian.
He understands Marvin Bagley was the wrong pick, but what he does believe is that De'Aaron Fox is really, really good for Sacramento, and he believes
Right.
in De'Aaron, thinks that he can bring a title to this town. I don't. I
Yeah.
don't believe that. I differ with Vladi on that, but he
Yeah.
he said, listen, I understand people are upset, but I also want people to know that if we drafted Luka, De'Aaron would not be on the team. And I'm
That's
like, yeah,
true.
but
And then if my aunt had a,
yeah.
she'd be my uncle. But
And you
I
also,
think
what else is interesting about this? And I don't say this to defend Vladi because he's a friend of mine, but the Phoenix Suns and the Atlanta Hawks also passed on Luka. They felt the
Yeah.
same way that the Kings did, that they had a better fit, that DeAndre Ayton was a better fit than Luka, and that Trae Young was a better fit than Luka. All right. I mean,
Yeah.
think about that. The Phoenix Suns had the #1 pick in the draft, not Sacramento. And when Sacramento took Marvin Bagley, the Atlanta Hawks could have taken
Yeah.
and kept Luka instead of making the trade with Dallas. All right. But they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, they would have been much better off with that. I think the only thing that's gonna kind of get in the Kings' way in the near future is just how deep the West is. I mean, I can line up 9, 10 teams that would make like a top 3, top 4 seed. You have Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Wemby's going to be amazing. I
Yep.
actually have a bet with a friend that's saying the Spurs will make a playing game this year. That's how strongly I feel about them.
I don't
So,
disagree. And I think Houston's right on the cusp. And, we
yeah,
got to also think about Memphis, who now has John Morant apparently healthy, with Desmond Bain, with a very good team with Jackson down low. And now you draft Zach Edey, who I think is going to be really good there. I mean, keep your eye on Memphis. They're pretty good.
yeah, I think the real wild card in the West is Golden State.
I agree.
I don't see them really doing much with Curry on the last legs of his career.
I agree.
It's whether they want to go down with the ship or if they want to send him out somewhere and get picks back. So we'll see
I
what
agree.
they do, but I guess we'll see.
I right
Appreciate
now
the
do not have
time.
the Warriors ahead of the Kings in the West. I think the Kings
No,
have a
I
better
don't either.
roster and are a better team.
Yeah,
And so the thing I'm curious to see defensively, the Kings are going to have some real issues without
yeah,
Davion Mitchell and now without uh, Carter, right?
yeah,
And
yeah. It's going to be an issue. Depth is
right,
definitely going to be challenged. I mean, DeMar's a very consistent vet, so I
but
hate
he's
to
not
say
a
the
good
word
defensive
treadmill
player.
because I don't believe the Kings are treadmill. I think they're better than treadmill. The best example of treadmill was like the 2010s Atlanta Hawks. So I
Yeah,
don't believe the Kings are there. But yeah, I really want to see what Golden State does. But I've been tired of watching them win. So
yeah.
anyway, yeah, thank you, Grant. Appreciate the time.
Good call, buddy. Thank you. Good stuff right there. Really good information. And we are going to start talking about the Kings a lot as we roll on here. We also are going to talk a lot about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fixed view. They are available 24/7 for all of your plumbing needs and repairs. Just go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen, sackserviceplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. And Bennett's, Sacramento, Roseville, the West Side Grill in Rockland. Prime seafood and steak at Bennett's. Don't forget about their weekend brunch. Also, happy hour, sips and taste every day from 2 to 6. You'll love it at Bennett's. Just go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com to make a reservation or more. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com. And I'm very excited. Tomorrow, I am going to announce a new sponsor on If You Don't Like That. That will be tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, Sean Salisbury, right here, 3 o'clock. Yes, indeed. You got a rant for Grant today? A rant with Grant. What do you think? You can come up with a rant for me today on a Tuesday, can't you? Tuesday evening? What should I rant about today? Keegan Murray, big season this year. I think Keegan Murray is completely the key to the success of this team this year. Walton ruined Bagley. That is the stupidest comment that maybe I've received since I've been on this show. Are you kidding me? Like, you're not serious, are you? Zach, stupidity on your part. The Astros won the AL West after losing 10 games in the standings in June. Thoughts? Not really. You play 162. You can lose 10 in a row. You can win 10 in a row. Or you can lose 10 games. I mean, it's unusual. I watched the Yankees come from 13 and a half down in July to, win the division against the Red Sox and win the World Series in 78. So, Zach, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, all right? So, I mean, I can sit here and I can embarrass you and make you seem stupid, or you can just say, okay, I'll take your word for it. You don't know what you're talking about. All right, again, if you want to call the show, you've got all the information you need. Here's your link. Also, a rant with Grant is on the board, and you got the QR code if you want to use that as well. Already appreciate the calls from Condog and Sean. All right, again, love to have you here. Happy that you're here. And we'll go a little bit longer, and then we will wrap up the show. Marvin Bagley got outplayed by Nemanja Bjelica. Listen, there were a lot of reasons for Marvin Bagley's failure. First of all, he got hurt a lot. And number two, he had a very controlling father, which I think put enormous strain and pressure on a guy that couldn't handle it mentally. All right? That's where I see the biggest problem. That's where I see the biggest problem. Bagley's father was completely detrimental to his career. Awful. Horrible. And there are things that I know that I can't even share. But just trust me on that. It was not Luke Walton. Amazing. I remember speaking with the Kings big man coach and Dave Yeager, who worked out Bagley before the draft. And the Kings big man coach was guarding Bagley. And he raved, all right? Raved about Bagley's workout. And he used to guard all the bigs that would come in for workouts. And he's a former NBA player himself. So he knows a thing or two about playing in the post. And he was raving about Bagley's workout. Bagley had a phenomenal workout in Sacramento. All right. So there's that too that happened. Here's the other deal. If the Kings had not taken Marvin Bagley second, he would have been gone. He would have been a top 5 pick. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no way he would have fallen past 5. If the Kings had taken Luka at 2, Bagley would have gone either 3 or 4 in all likelihood. So, I need a rant on the Cowboys about how bad they are. The defense is getting smoked. True, but it's only 3 weeks, and I think they'll beat the Giants on Thursday. Then they have an extra 3 days off to get ready, gain some momentum. Their defense has got to get better. But if they ever lose Micah Parsons, oh my gosh, they are in deep trouble. Deep trouble. So Jaren Jackson would have been nice too. Of course he would have been nice. No doubt about it. There are a lot of players that would have been nice in that draft. But they took the guy that wasn't nice, right? They took the guy that wasn't nice. I don't have a crystal ball any more than you do. But if the draft were held all over again, does anyone think that Luka Doncic would not go number 1 to Phoenix? Right? Do you think that if the draft were held all over again, do you think the Phoenix Suns would have passed on Luka Doncic? Of course not. He would be the number 1 pick in the draft. Now, officially, he was number 3, but really he was number 5. There's no way. There's no way that the Phoenix Suns would not have drafted Luka. And, people talk about the Kings. How about their draft? Think about this. They drafted Josh Jackson, who was a draft bust. He was Marvin Bagley. They drafted Josh Jackson when they could have had De'Aaron Fox. Think about that. They took Josh Jackson at number 4, and the Kings took Fox right after that. Teams make mistakes, you know? Kings make mistakes. Do I think the Giants make it close versus the Cowboys on Thursday? I hope they do, Cody, but I don't like the way the Giants match up with Dallas. The Giants' back end is not good. I don't know if they can get enough pressure on Prescott. I think CeeDee Lamb apologizing to his team and the media today. I think he's going to be great on Thursday. And I don't have a real good feeling about this game. All right? I really don't. Rant about why people dress up like Trevor Lawrence at last night's Bills game. I've never understood that. Never understood that. I really don't. But, whatever. I didn't ever understand Cam Newton and his outfits. Again, I don't understand it, Rant on Travis Kelce no showing this season. I could, but they're 3-0, right? I could, but they're 3-0. I know a lot of people put it on Taylor Swift, but he also has a lot of attrition, and he's not a young pup anymore, and he plays a very violent game. So, there's that. I'm not going to rant on that. Give me some more ideas. It's I'm not saying it's a bad idea, a bad rant idea, but I need more with a rant with Grant. Give me some more on a rant with Grant. All right? What do you think? I know a lot of people are on Kelce, but it's not, he's also a hell of a blocker, and a lot of people forget that. I wouldn't say he's been a no-show. I think that's a little unfair. He's a starting tight end on a team that's 3-0. You got to factor that in. You have to factor that in a little bit. All right. I'm thinking that when you look at the Chiefs, there are teams that just know how to win, and they are a perfect example of a team that knows how to win. The saying in sports, well, that team needs to learn how to win. The Chiefs know how to win. They win even when they don't play well. All right? They win even when they don't play well. That's the sign of a great team. They should maybe have had 2 losses already this year, but they find a way to win. They find a way to win. That's what makes them great. And they never feel like they're out of a game. They always feel like they're going to be fine. And if they have a bad game, they feel like they're going to be just fine and dandy for the following game. That's how they operate as a franchise. They're incredible. If I were Mike McCarthy, would have I kicked an onside instead of that last possession at the 3-minute mark? I know it's easy in hindsight. No, because the momentum of the game had the defense stopping Baltimore, and he thought that the defense had turned things around, would have gotten the ball back. And an onside kick is very, very low percentage. So I would not. All right? I would not. You have a kicker who can kick very long distances, and you're thinking your defense is going to get your ball back. So I would not have done an onside kick. All right, Cody says going to the final A's game at the Coliseum tomorrow versus the Rangers. Cody, what's the season or what's the crowd expected to be at that game, Cody? What's it expected to be? What do you think it's gonna be like tomorrow in Oakland? What do you think? Should be pretty memorable, I would think. It's going to be pretty memorable tomorrow. Hey, don't forget about Sunrise Landing, the newest residential community in Colusa from Blazona Development. 6 models to choose from, and all you need to do is go to ColusaSunrise.com. Get all the information you need to look at these beautiful models. Remember, there's no Melrose. There's no homeowners. It's adjacent to the Colusa Golf and Country Club. Great access to the major arteries like Highway 5, Highway 20, Highway 45. Just go to ColusaSunrise.com and check out everything that you need to know at Sunrise Landing. That's CalusaSunrise.com. You know, back to the A's tomorrow. Said 25,000 at least. I think 35,000 is max without the third deck. I hope it's, well, it's going to be very sad. I hope you have a good time, Cody. I hope it's a memorable night. And I hope the A's give the fans a hell of a performance. I really do. They're playing the Rangers tomorrow. Yeah. Sold out. All right. I hope it's sold out. I think they should open up I don't even know if you can open up the top. I don't know if it's even safe. But, I mean, you should get as many people as you can in there for the final game. Good. I was at the final game at the old Yankee Stadium. Now, the franchise wasn't moving, so it was completely different. But that was sad for me. That was a sad day for me. I actually took part of the chair, which the hard plastic had been ripped in front of me a little bit, and I tore it off, and I still have it in a plastic baggie with the ticket from that game that I still have. I was going to say rant about the 100-degree Sacramento weather in the fall. How can I rant on that? There's nothing that can be done about it. So okay, so I could rant on it, but what am I going to do? I'm going to rant on Mother Nature? Can't rant on Mother Nature. You know, hopefully Sacramento will be a good host. I think the fans will support the team. You know, I don't think the players are going to like playing in Sacramento. I don't think they're going to like staying in downtown Sacramento. I don't think they're going to like anything about it, but I think the fans will be very receptive, you know, and they're still working it out, as Mark Dembski from KFBK reported 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that the Players Association is negotiating with MLB over some issues at the ballpark that are very serious. He had some very strong quotes from super agent Scott Boras on all of that. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see. So, Cody, have fun tomorrow. That's going to be great. I mean, when I mean great, it's going to be great to say that you were there, you know? Should the Kings sign a veteran like Derrick Rose? I don't think so. Or are they okay in that position? I don't think they're okay, but I don't know if that's the answer, you know? Said he was at the last game, Patrick, at Shea in '83, was Terry Bradshaw's last game as well. That was his last game. Very interesting. Man, I love the A's. I remember seeing Ricky Henderson, and I said, hey, Ricky, Rod Carew is badass, and he said, I'm the best, kid. That sounds like Ricky, but I'm surprised he said I'm the best. I'm surprised he didn't say Ricky Henderson's the best. That's how Ricky talked. I interviewed Ricky Henderson once, and he mentioned Ricky Henderson at least 10 times. He said, when Ricky Henderson gets on first, you know, when Ricky Henderson, it was funny. He had me laughing. I love Ricky. Loved him. I interviewed him many times. Loved the guy. It was great. Really fun to interview Ricky Henderson. I had one of the greatest experiences. I was at an A's-Yankees game when Ricky was playing for the Yankees, and he was hurt, and he wasn't playing, but he was in uniform. And this was before they had the seats right behind the home plate. So there was an open area between home plate and where the stand started. And I was standing between home plate and the Yankee dugout watching the game. And Ricky Henderson comes out and literally is standing about 2 or 3 feet from me. And we just start talking. Like just a casual conversation while the game's going on. I'm talking to Ricky Henderson, kind of like right behind the on-deck circle. And he was getting destroyed by the New York media. And I was telling him I'm from New York. I live in Sacramento now. He says, yeah, you know, I've talked to you before. I said, yeah. And we must have talked for 15 or 20 minutes. And he was explaining to me the anatomy of his thigh. And he was telling me that what people don't understand, because he was out with a hamstrings issue, that his muscles in his legs were so big and the anatomy of his leg was such that he was susceptible to a lot of injuries in that part of his body. And he was saying the media doesn't want to hear that. The media doesn't understand that. The fans, they're all on me. And he was really bothered by that. And we had an incredible conversation that night behind the dugout. Actually, it was a day game. It wasn't even a night game. It was a day game. I think it was a day game. Well, whatever it was, I'll never forget talking to Ricky Henderson for 15 or 20 minutes while the game was going on. It was incredible. Never forget it. I've got so many stories like that, I tell the story about meeting the great Dick Irvin, the longtime voice of the Montreal Canadiens and Hockey Night in Canada. And I was watching the Sharks and the Canadiens skate around the morning of the exhibition game at Arco Arena. And the legendary announcer of the Montreal Canadiens starts talking to me. And I was giving him my background. I said, yeah, I'm the TV announcer of the Kings, but I'm a big hockey fan. I'm from New York. I'm blah, blah, blah. And he goes, do you know a lot about the Sharks? I go, oh, yeah, I watch the Sharks. Make the long story short, he said, would you join me on the broadcast tonight? I'm doing this alone, and I would love to have someone to be able to give me some color on the Sharks. I said, sure, no problem. I'm up there with a legendary household name hockey announcer, Dick Irvin, on the Montreal Canadiens radio network. I'm literally up there listening to an announcer that I used to watch on Hockey Night in Canada when I was at Bowling Green. And I'm like, wow, I'm sitting next to the Vin Scully of hockey in Canada almost. Seriously. It was unbelievable. Like, how does that happen? I mean, Grant Napier, I'm on the Montreal Canadiens radio network. Like, what? And he said to me, he goes, now, I don't want you to analyze the game. I just want you to talk about the Sharks and some of their players. I said, yeah, no problem. It was great. It was great. All right. So tomorrow, Sean Salisbury, 3:00, right here on If You Don't Like That. And then we'll do a show at 8:00 with Ryan. So a doubleheader tomorrow, 3:00 and 8:00. Cody, have a great experience. Cody, please do me a favor on Thursday. Please join the show. It will be a 4:00 show because of the Giants-Cowboys game. So I'll be doing a show on Thursday at an hour before the game. Please let me know how tomorrow goes. All right? All right. Thank you for my thoughts on the Suns announcer that passed away. Al McCoy was a legend, and I've never met anyone that had a bad word to say about Al McCoy. Al McCoy was loved by those who knew him and those who didn't know him. Al McCoy will live in infamy in the Valley of the Sun. I am blessed that I had a chance to be in his presence. I interviewed Al countless number of times on my radio show. Al and I would always talk in Phoenix or in Sacramento. We would share stories or experiences. Al McCoy is top shelf on my list of those that I've been blessed to work alongside. Great man, great announcer, great ambassador for sports in the Valley of the Sun. Great life at age 91. Did games up until 2 years ago? Rest in peace, my friend. Thank you for asking about Al McCoy. I don't know what else to say. I never heard a bad word about the man. Never. We all loved Al, all of his colleagues around the league, radio and TV. We all loved Al. We always talked about Al. We were always at the NBA broadcast meetings in New York every year, and Al was always surrounded by so many of us because he was just that type of a guy. I don't know what else to say. Al McCoy, rest in peace, my friend. And on that note, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you tomorrow. Al McCoy. If there are certain people that could have and should have lived forever, he's one of them. So long, everybody.